President Trump has now made it more expensive for all U.S. companies to hire international workers.
Major companies rushing now to respond after President Trump announced plans late last week to impose a $100,000 fee on H1B visas.
There is a massive displacement of American tech workers by younger, cheaper, foreign workers.
71% of these visas go to people from India. Another 11% are going to people from China. There is a 6% unemployment rate right now for recent graduates, so it's much higher than the average unemployment rate.
As this applies only to new H1B visas.
Remember, immigration is the foundation of the American dream.
They told you the $100,000 H1B fee would save American jobs. Meanwhile, 600,000 Chinese students are being fast-tracked into universities, and corporations are already writing the checks. You've been sold out, and I've got the receipts. September 19th, Trump signs this executive order. Within hours, Indian tech workers are calling their families in panic. Companies are issuing emergency travel warnings, and Fox News is declaring victory for American workers. But here's what they're not telling you. This fee only applies to new applicants. The approximately 580,000 H1B workers already here, they're untouched. Your job is still gone. Let me explain to you what's actually happening. There's this programmer who worked at Disney for 12 years. One morning, his boss walks in with 3 guys from an Indian outsourcing firm. He's told he has 90 days to train his replacements, or he loses his severance and health insurance. The worst part of it all? His daughter has epilepsy, so he needs that insurance. He trained them and promptly lost his job. This happened to 250 Disney workers, and it's happening right now across America while everyone's distracted by this fee announcement. You want to know the genuine shocker? According to federal data, recent computer science graduates face unemployment rates over 6%, double the national average. Computer engineering graduates are doing even worse. These are kids who went tens of thousands into debt for degrees in what everyone told them was the hottest field on earth. Now, they're living with their parents, sending out hundreds of applications, getting nothing back. And somehow, in Trump's economy, art history majors are finding jobs faster than computer science grads. But sure, tell me more about how we desperately need foreign tech workers. Here's where it gets worse. According to White House data, one company laid off 16,000 Americans last year. Guess how many H1B workers they brought in? 5,189. Another tech giant eliminated 2,400 jobs in Oregon alone, while securing 1,698 H1B approvals. They're literally replacing you in real time and calling it a talent shortage. Meanwhile, Trump's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick goes on Fox News and says we need 600,000 Chinese students because otherwise 20% of universities will go out of business. Let that sink in. We're subsidizing failing universities with Chinese nationals who, by the way, are legally required under China's 2017 national intelligence law to spy for their government if asked. And this is supposed to be America first? The economics here are what really expose the scam. Amazon is valued at nearly $2 trillion. If they hired every single H1B worker in America, the entire program would cost them maybe $1 billion a year under this new fee. That's 0.05% of their value. It's so insignificant it might as well be a rounding error. They'll pay it without blinking. But your local startup that would have otherwise hired you, they're moving operations to Bangalore because they can't afford the fee. You know what companies like Infosys do? Government statistics show they bring in Indian workers at $70,000 to $80,000 to replace Americans making $120,000 to $150,000. Even with the new fee, they're saving money. The fee just becomes a cost of doing business, like lobbying Congress. The con job doesn't stop there. The State Department quietly accelerated green card processing for Indian nationals right now. EB-5 and EB-1 visas are moving forward by over a year. Hundreds of thousands of Indian nationals who arrived on H-1B visas since 2019 are getting fast-tracked to permanent residency. Your government is literally expediting the permanent replacement of American workers while telling you they're protecting your job. In Silicon Valley, foreign-born workers now dominate the tech workforce, with some companies reporting over 70% international staff. You can't afford to live there anymore because housing prices exploded from all the H1B workers. But even if you could, the majority of jobs are already gone. This isn't immigration, it's colonization. They even created this gold card program where millionaires can buy instant green cards for $1 million, $2 million if a company sponsors them. According to official White House announcements, the platinum tier, $5 million, lets you live here 270 days without paying taxes on foreign income. Your citizenship is literally for sale. And here's how you know this is all for show. This entire fee expires in 12 months. It's not even permanent. It's just political theater designed to get headlines. Immigration attorneys are already saying presidents can't just invent visa fees without Congress. But by then, the election messaging is done, the headlines are written, and you'll have moved on to the next manufactured crisis. Here's what industry analysts predict actually happens next. Companies simply won't hire Americans. They'll offshore entire departments. It's cheaper to move the whole operation to India than pay these fees. Research firms like Everest Group are already tracking this trend. When Trump raised H1B denial rates to 24% in his first term, government data shows companies didn't hire Americans. They opened offices in Canada. And the younger generation? They're getting destroyed by this system. Federal statistics show six-figure student debt for computer science degrees. Now these graduates are competing against workers willing to accept half their expected salary. How are they supposed to afford housing? How can they even begin to think about starting families? They were promised the American dream and got delivered to corporate feudalism. The broken generation, living at home at 30, competing globally for jobs that used to be inherently local. You voted to drain the swamp. You got the guy who filled his administration with the swamp and is now charging them a cover fee they'll happily pay. The worst part? Bernie Sanders and Steve Bannon agree this is a disaster. When those two are on the same page, you know you've been had. Sanders calls H1B workers indentured servants. He's right, but they're not the enemy. They're being exploited too. The enemy is the system that makes you compete against someone willing to accept half your salary because they're terrified of deportation if they lose their job. This isn't about racism or nationalism. It's about math. Economic Policy Institute research shows that 60% of H1B positions are certified at wages below the local median. Studies indicate computer scientists' salaries would be 2.6% to 5.1% higher without the program. When recent grads can't find entry-level jobs because they're all filled with senior H1B workers making junior wages, that's not a skills gap. That's wage theft with extra steps. You want to know what would actually protect American workers? End the H1B program entirely. 50% exit tax on any job moved overseas. Jail time for executives who hire illegal workers. But that would hurt the donor class, and the Trump administration doesn't want to do that. So instead, you get this $100,000 fee that sounds tough but changes nothing. They played you like a fiddle. While you were celebrating the fee, they brought in 600,000 future competitors through the education system. While you were sharing victory memes, corporations were calculating that the fee cost less than American salaries. While you thought you won, hundreds of thousands of H1B workers got fast-tracked to permanent residency. The entire American middle class is being systematically replaced with a more controllable, exploitable foreign workforce that can't vote and can't complain. This isn't a bug in the system, it's the feature. Here's the hard truth. The system isn't going to fix itself. Not under Trump, not under Biden, not under anyone who's funded by the same corporations profiting from your replacement. The only solution is a complete political realignment that refuses corporate money, foreign lobbying, and the entire donor class that sold your future for quarterly earnings. They know you won't do that. And somewhere in a boardroom, they're laughing at how easy it was to sell you out for the price of a good headline. Welcome to America, where your job is temporary, but your replacement is permanent. And the fee to replace you? Well, that's just the cost of doing business.